Extraordinary Journey, Expressing Spirit Through Art and Medicine, is an exhibition showcasing the artwork of 3 artists who were treated over the course of a year by an acupuncturist and Acutonics practitioner, focusing on the healing potential of the 8 extraordinary vessels. The artists used their experience of the treatments as inspiration for creativity.
The project began where all good ideas begin on the top of a mountain. I was taking a class on the evolution of consciousness using a set of meridians, acupuncture meridians called the extraordinary meridians, coupled with a sound healing system called Acutonics. The treatments that we did, it was a combination of sound healing, the applied use of sound on acupuncture points to affect change, to shift, and also acupuncture needles. And the use of the sound, I will sometimes put tuning forks on the body. Sometimes I will use hand chimes over the field, in the field over the body. Sometimes I would use Tibetan bowls on the body or over the body. And sometimes we would bring in gongs. What we've done different is we've twisted it, we've turned it a bit. And instead, the artists, the participants in the project, went in knowing what the treatment was going to be. They went in knowing the healing potential, and they had time to think about it and think about how it related to their creative process. And when we sat down, we formulated an intention, and that discussion and the narrative is what informed me on which archetypes and intervals, musical intervals to use. So all the artists were treated on the same meridian, but the treatments were very different based on what they had to say, and the combination of the person on the table and the practitioner both fully understanding the healing potential and both holding the intention had profound effects on the healing.
At the beginning of each treatment, Tina had us come prepared with an intention. And so these intentions really helped me focus and target on myself, the things that I wanted to release. During these treatments, that process, my process of composition, completely changed from writing outside of myself to really looking inside. I would get really amazing visions in each of the treatments. And once the treatment was over, I'd initially, stand up and journal what it was that I experienced. Then when it came time to compose, I would just let those experiences filter through. The changes in me due to these treatments has not been more about my creative output, but the positive changes in me and my personality, identifying the parts of my personality that I feel have been holding me back from reaching my potential as a human being, not just as a musician. Identifying those pieces of my personality that no longer suit me, and being able to move closer to the person that I know I can become.
I decided to join the project because I was already a client of Tina's and knew the effectiveness of the Acutonics healing system and Chinese medicine. And I felt that I was struggling a little bit with discovering myself as an artist. And I thought that this might be an opportunity for self-exploration, self-discovery, and to rid myself of some of the self-doubt that I felt was impairing my journey. I think each one of the meridians was a deep dive into slightly different impulses. But of particular interest to me was the beginning one. We started with the Dai Mai, which Tina described as being sort of a belt and a circular part of the, I guess, around the midsection. And it put me in a place where I wanted to rid myself of this sort of heavy burden of responsibilities. And the poem that resulted from that particular treatment had to do with a recent trip to the UK where I had visited Stonehenge. And I think the circular formation, the heaviness of the stones, the feeling of ancient origins, all came together and very much informed that poem, inspired that poem really. But I can see in that one in particular a direct link to the meridian that inspired it. At a certain point in the project, I began to realize that it was truly a collaborative effort. Even though we each worked independently as artists, the first time I heard Jeff's music, I was struck by the fact that there were resonances and frequencies in his musical compositions that seemed directly linked to some of my poems. This notion of connection, that we're all part of something larger, seems to be key to the whole experience, and certainly is key to my experience as a poet and an artist, and was one of the most gratifying moments in the process of this particular journey. Was we're not alone. We're not doing this alone. We do nothing in isolation. We're talking to each other. It's a conversation that's taking place in these frequencies that Tina is accessing for each of us differently. But the voice that emerges shares something in each case. And this was a startling revelation for me and one of great comfort.
These treatments were different from the other treatments in the fact that usually if I went to Tina, I went because I had a problem. A knee, a back, a neck, something that hurt. These, of course, was a treatment on a different level. When you're taking something that is not visible and you need to make it visible on canvas in a way that other people can appreciate it and perhaps get something from it. So that was my challenge, and I decided to use color. After each treatment, I would let it sit for a day or so and then think about it. And then as the color of the treatment came to mind, I would simply put it on canvas. First treatment was really a challenge. I did maybe 3 sketches first. Towards the end, they just started coming quick, quick, quick. And by the last one, I was just blown away. It was fabulous. When you think about how they might have affected my art, I'm not sure. It's difficult for an artist to look at their art and critique it completely, but I think what benefited me was inside, how I changed, how I viewed my art, how I viewed myself. I became so much more free. I didn't worry about, or I wasn't worried about what other people thought. I've developed a lot more confidence in my work and in the direction I want my work to go.
We all have a gift to share, and these 3 artists are sharing their gift of creation. We all are creator beings, and they have chosen to create in a medium to really bear their soul to the world through art, through poetry, through music. And this project, part of what we were doing was really helping them hone into who they are as that authentic creator.